Karibuni to my channel, Hangout with D. Now, karibuni is a Swahili word for all my international viewers. Swahili word for welcome to my channel. So today, my second episode. I am extremely excited because I love this topic. I don't know how many bridal showers you've been to, or if you attended premarital class before you got married. But today I want to discuss the advice that we pick along the way when you go for bridal showers, and the advice we pick in premarital class versus reality. And I'm going to be sharing my experiences. So I hope you'll enjoy. Okay, so the first advice that I remember I got was not to don't ever go to bed angry at your husband or your wife. Okay? Let me tell you, reality is you will go to bed angry with your spouse, and sometimes you'll go to bed, you're mad at them and you don't want to talk to them, and you go to bed that way. So for my experience, I remember the first few months of marriage, I remember I kept hearing that voice, don't go to bed mad at your spouse. And I kept, just fighting it. And so I'd make my husband stay up until 5 a.m. in some instances, until we sort out a matter, because I just knew it was cast on stone. Don't go to bed mad at your spouse. Now let me tell you something. One of the things I discovered, the first time I just said, you know what, it's fine. Let me just go to bed. We'll talk tomorrow or the day after, whatever. But I realized that I couldn't sleep, I couldn't sleep. But my husband, he would sleep, snore, you know how you're in deep sleep until you don't even know if you're covered or not. He would sleep completely. And I'd be there just staring at him and wondering, how can this guy sleep and we are not talking? How dare he? So, those are the struggles that we went through the few first months of our marriage. Advice number 2, keeping him on toes. Let me tell you guys. Oh my goodness. So, I picked, a lot of people like to say this in bridal showers, how it's important for the wife to always keep your husband on toes. Usually I never hear so much about the husband and what he should do to keep the wife on toes. It's usually just the wife needs to do A, B, C, D to keep the husband on toes, and I'm sure most of you can agree. Now here's the thing, you guys. Here's one of the things I used to do in the very early stages of my marriage. I'd make sure that I get home before my husband, so that I'm able to open for him. When he knocks, when he comes home, I'm the one who's receiving him, and I'm jovial, and the house is clean and it smells good and all these things. Now, here's the thing. My version of keeping him on toes was to wear very minimal clothing, okay? And, just to surprise him when he walks through the door and says, oh, I have a hot wife, let me tell you. The second time I did, the first time he was surprised and it was all good, and then the second time I did it, he asked me a question. He's like, are you not feeling cold? And I said, what? He said it in Swahili, which actually sounds better in Swahili. He said, Auski baridi. Oh my word. Now, can you imagine how that felt? Let me just leave it there. So, long story short, I've never done it again. I just stopped. Yeah, because it's cold out here. 3, timing is everything. So when you're angry, you don't just, what I've learned and what I've had people say as well, is when you're angry, you don't just say it at any time of the day, okay? You learn to time your husband or your wife. So you check out the times when it's comfortable for you to talk to them about a serious issue, when you want their 100% attention. So you're not going to talk to your better half when they're busy or they're distracted with something else or whatever. So for me, I had to learn this the hard way. So now what I do now is I always make sure that when I'm talking to my husband and I require his 100% attention, that he is full, ameshiba, yani he has eaten. I cannot talk to my husband when he's hungry. It's not going to work. So I make sure that I have fed him, and then we can talk. Okay? My fourth point, and you guys can add all the points on the comment section, you know, subscribe, share with your family and friends. So my last point is, and it actually works. This is not the kind of advice where you get and you're like, no, it doesn't work in reality. It actually does. Don't ever badmouth your spouse to anyone ever, especially your family members, because let me just put it this way: nobody else is in love with your spouse. Okay, you're the only one who sees him the way you do. Sawa sawa. So when you guys have had a fight or a disagreement, and then you go to your mom or you go to your brother or you know whoever, and you start bad mouthing your spouse, more often than not, you're putting the third person in a very awkward situation, because you're gonna go home, and more often than not, you're going to reconcile with your spouse. And then your friend is always going to see your spouse in that light, okay? Because they don't love your spouse like you do. So, you know, it's just awkward. So don't do it. So I think my solution for that would be just find someone who's like-minded, someone who's a mutual friend. It's very important. A mutual friend, probably a mutual couple that you can always run to, and that both you and your husband or you and your wife are in agreement in terms of you can you know, someone who you can talk to. Okay, so that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe. Let's keep the conversation going. I can't wait to see you guys in the comment section. Thank you so much.